the millinery industry, like at its peak, was huge. In Paris, there were, I think it's around 3,000 milliners or like hat makers, all using this mercury acid process to make the fur into felt and then hats. And mercury doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't disappear. So all this mercury fumes collects as it escapes the factories. It collects. Apparently, this is on an amazing episode of Dressed, which is about a book called Fashion Victims. I always recommend Dressed. You know I do. So apparently, the fumes and the vapors would then collect and settle on the roofs of these factories and hat makers. This is just in Paris alone. Um, but then, of course, when it rains heavily, all of that is washed off and goes into the water system. This wouldn't have just been happening there, this is everywhere. Goes into the water system, and they think uh, that this was responsible for like mass poisonings throughout like this era, which would have been like the 1800s, which is just mad to think about. So even like the individuals working there weren't just affected, it was all the people in the area too. Um, as well as that, I'm going to bring you back to the UK. There is a wonderful place just outside of Manchester, and it's called Stockport. And Stockport was like the centre of the millinery industry in the UK, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, London had its thing, but Stockport was really where it's at. They had so many factories, so many businesses. That is where the majority of hats were made that were then sent off to other companies for them to put their label in and trim it and make it theirs. Um, I think again, 1800s, its peak. A firm called Christie's, which was based in London but had a place in Stockport. They employed over 3,000 people. That's one company employing over 3,000 people just in Stockport. And the issue is that we'd always been a hat wearing society, but obviously, major events through our history change how people dress, they change social norms. There are, you've got wars to consider where people like, the rules change. Women are in work, men come back and are just like, I've seen some things. Um, Fashions change because of it. There's rationing. Hats are a luxury item. Maybe people can't afford it. There's the depression. There's also the invention of the car. Okay, the car is the death knell for the hatting industry, believe it or not, because especially for women, we'll think about top hats as well. When you're out in a horse and cart, whatever, like an open top car, um, your hat is protecting your head. You could still wear it. But then obviously cars become smaller, they are covered. You cannot fit in a car with a top hat or a massive elaborate hat. So they become smaller, and then they become completely unnecessary when you're out to protect your hair and your head because you're enclosed and there's heating. So you just don't need them anymore. And actually, it's quite inconvenient to leave the house with a hat on, have to take it off to get in a car, and then put it on again when you get to wherever you're going. So they just became unnecessary. So even like in the 20s, cars were open top. So that's where the cloche for women came in because it really kept your hair like close to your head. But then as cars became enclosed and had heating systems, you didn't even need that. So basically, the car was just like that was the end of it. People still, wear hats for special occasions. Um, you know, the races, darling, ladies' day, uh, um, weddings, funerals to a degree. So there are still occasions for them, but it's just not as necessary as it used to be. But there are still designers keeping the hatting industry alive. The the British Milliners Guild or Hatters Guild was formed only a few years ago. Um, that's an incredible account to follow. Philip Treacy, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. I've never heard it said out loud. I could be wrong, but he used to headwear for Alexander McQueen for his runway shows. He's done pieces for Isabella Blow, um, Grace Jones. Um, I'm sure, was it Princess Eugenie or Beatrice or one of them? I can't remember. Um, really unusual pieces. So keeping it modern, keeping it alive, keeping that skill going. There are still milliners, but they're very rare and few and far between. However, in Stockport, you can visit the Hat Museum, and I cannot recommend it enough. The staff are amazing. The tour is they've got it all set up as a workshop would have been. Um, that's incredible. The Hat Gallery is just amazing, and they've just had a massive refurb. So please go and visit them. It is excellent. Whether you're into hats or not, it's just really cool from a Stockport history side of things, from a social history side of things, from a fashion history aspect. It's just a great visit. Highly recommended. Okay, that's that plug done. That's my personal recommendation. It's not an ad. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm trying to keep these shorter. Um, like, subscribe, comment, you know the drill. I will see you next time.